I think that story-wise, the Warcraft 3 campaign is my all-time favorite. I've played so many games over the years, but there's just something special about the Warcraft 3 campaign. Now, with Reforged being out, it's basically a full graphical overhaul of the game. Apparently, there's a bunch of new cinematics and all that. It's about time we do a fresh new playthrough.
We never paid any heed to the ancient prophecies. Like fools, we clung to the old hatreds. And fought as we had for generations.
I'm so excited for this. I've been looking forward to this for months, ever since they announced it.
Until the day the sky rained fire, and the new enemy came among us. We stand now upon the brink of destruction, for the reign of chaos has come at last.
Okay. Now, before we jump into the very first mission, I think it's probably a good idea to read through this rather long blog post titled Warcraft 3, The Story So Far. In case you don't want to listen to me read through all of this, just skip ahead a little bit in the video, but I think it will probably give us a good baseline knowledge from the Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 games leading up to Warcraft 3. So, here we go. Conflict is, in a series called Warcraft, an arguable necessity. But battles of good versus evil are never straightforward when cosmic deities meddle in the matters of mortals. When a fallen titan, possessed of untold power and a desire to scour all life, ordered the corruption of the orcs, they were set on a path that would end in an inevitable clash with a nation of humans enjoying a prosperous existence. This universe-spanning conflict helped forge Azeroth into the world we know it as today. Of orcs and humans in Warcraft. Once the greatest warrior of the godlike titans, the assemblage of cosmic entities responsible for shaping and ordering the universe, Sargeras succumbed to the all-consuming corruption of the twisting nether, a plane between worlds composed of chaotic magics and its resident fiends, while attempting to shield his brethren from its depravity. Convinced that the only way to spare the universe from the nether's demonic entities was to purge it, he soon turned his power on the cosmos, seeking to cleanse all life in existence. To this end, he forged the demonic Burning Legion. After a failed attack on Azeroth 10,000 years ago, Sargeras saw an opportunity to once again strike at the world and possess the mages Medivh, intending to use his power to foment a war between worlds that would force Azeroth to buckle upon itself. Corrupted by the malignant magics of Sargeras, Medivh, the last of an ancient line of powerful magi and friend to the throne of Stormwind, worked to orchestrate Azeroth's downfall. He found in the far-off world of Draenor a kindred spirit, the powerful warlock Gul'dan. Wielding heretical magic, this nefarious orc taught his brethren to channel demonic energy. His influence over the orc came to a head when he convinced them to drink the blood of the demon Manaroth, promising them invincibility in exchange for their compliance. The fiend's blood poisoned their minds, transforming the orcs into an army consumed by bloodlust and controlled from the shadows by Gul'dan and his puppet warchief Blackhand. Medivh struck a deal with his new ally. In exchange for the promise of godhood, Gul'dan would create a gateway between the human homeworld of Azeroth and his own planet Draenor. Thus, the Dark Portal was first opened, and the Horde flooded through to clash with the humans of Azeroth. The Orcish Horde assailed at the human heartlands, razing entire towns and leaving ruin in their wake. For years, orcs and humans clashed in savage skirmishes, each side biding their time and surveying the enemy with the intent to launch a full force strike when the hour was right. 3 years after the Dark Portal opened, the Horde marched on Stormwind City. Though their first attack was repelled by the King's commander Anduin Lothar, the Horde retreated to regroup and decide how to best land a decisive blow against the human kingdom. Meanwhile, Medivh's apprentice Khadgar confided in King Lane and Anduin Lothar, revealing that his master had been corrupted by dark forces and had unleashed the Horde upon Azeroth. With Khadgar's aid, Lothar slew Medivh and banished the spirit of Sargeras within him to the Nether. Gul'dan, having entered Medivh's mind prior to his death to scour it for information, fell into a deep coma after the mage's death. The great orc chieftain Ogrim Doomhammer found himself disillusioned with the Horde's leadership under Gul'dan and Blackhand. Sensing an opportunity, he challenged Blackhand for the mantle of war chief and emerged from the fray victorious. United under the banner of Doomhammer, the Horde marched upon Stormwind once more. While the city was under siege, Garona Halforsen, a former ally of the humans, who secretly in the thrall of Gul'dan's Shadow Council secured victory for the orcs and assassinated King Lane under the council's order. The morale of Stormwind's military died along with him, and the city fell to the might of the Horde. Anduin Lothar declared the war lost and retreated with the remnants of Stormwind's populace across the Great Sea. Okay, so that brings us to Warcraft 2's Turning Tides. Desperate for aid, Lothar and the survivors of Stormwind's siege fled north. There they sought the support from the sovereign of the mighty human kingdom of Lordaeron, King Taranas Menethil II. The refugees were irrefutable proof of the threat posed by the Horde. Unable to deny the existence of such a threat to life on Azeroth, King Taranas summoned the leaders of the human kingdoms to prepare a counteroffensive against the Horde. 7 nations united under a single banner for the first time in 3,000 years, giving birth to the Alliance of Lordaeron. Gul'dan, recently awoken from his magical coma following the death of Medivh, bargained with the Horde's new war chief and disavowed the Shadow Council to spare his life. Though wary of the warlock, Doomhammer spared Gul'dan and allowed him to establish his own clan to bolster the Horde's ranks. With powerful aid in the form of conscripted Amani trolls and the recently discovered Demon Soul, an ancient artifact capable of controlling dragons, the orcs prepared to advance upon the remaining human nations. While the Horde readied themselves to march upon their enemies, Lothar rallied the disparate races of Lordaeron, gaining the aid of the dwarves of Ironforge and invoking his right as the last descendant of the Arathi line to call upon the High Elves of Quel'Thalas. Bound by a blood oath sworn long ago to Lothar's kin, King Anasterian Sunstrider sent a small force of soldiers to Lordaeron's aid, first among them the ranger captain Illyria Windrunner. Orgrim Doomhammer led the Horde north on the continued path of destruction, following the remnants of Stormwind's people to Lordaeron and razing all that stood in his way. Though victory seemed in sight as the Orcish forces marched on Lordaeron, the city would live to withstand the latter days of the Second War by virtue of discord within the Horde's ranks. Doomhammer and his army, poised to strike at the heart of the Alliance, received dire news. Gul'dan had abandoned his fellow orcs, taking with him half of their military might to seek out the fabled tomb of Sargeras in his pursuit of godhood. Gul'dan's betrayal afforded the Alliance the very chance it needed to turn the tide of war. Anduin Lothar's troops rallied and pushed the Horde from the lands of Lordaeron all the way down to the volcanic fortress of Blackrock Spire. Unwilling to accept defeat, the determined Doomhammer landed one final blow upon the humans, putting an end to Lothar's life in a suicidal charge. As Lothar fell, his lieutenant Turalyon took up the mantle of commander, calling upon his brothers and sisters to preserve and fight on in the honor of the commander's legacy. So inspirational was his battle cry that the human forces fervently cleaved through the Horde, scattering its army and seizing those they could they could find rather, as prisoners of the Alliance. Those who were caught were herded into internment camps and left to wallow. And so the flames of the Second War guttered out, and peace settled upon the land that had for so long been plagued by war. In the years following the Horde's defeat, the Alliance splintered, no longer held together by the tenuous covenant that had been forced out of common desperation. Thus, the Kingdom of Lordaeron was left to face alone an uncertain future. As Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos begins, which is what we are just about to start, nearly 13 years after the Horde's defeat, trouble stirs once again. Rumors of a plague spread quickly through the Kingdom of Lordaeron, unsettling the citizenry and prompting King Terenas' son, Arthas, to investigate its source, a venture that will set him on a dark path and forever define his fate. Meanwhile, a young upstart rallies the orcs that have spent the past decade laboring in crowded internment camps, inspiring them to cast off the yoke of imprisonment and once more take up their blades. Within Alliance-ruled lands, a cult arises, poisoning the minds of its members and heralding the start of an insidious scourge that seeks to pave the way for a new invasion of Azeroth. And the Night Elves, desperate to protect their ancient homeland from destructive forces, awaken their dreaming kin and contemplate freeing the most dangerous prisoner their kind has ever known in a bid for the power necessary to stand against their enemies. Calamity returns once more to the world of Warcraft, and its inhabitants, both new and old, take up arms to fight for the future. Will you stand with them, assemble your armies, and live out this legendary chapter of Warcraft's history by purchasing Warcraft 3 Reforged today? Well, I've already done so. I already did that. I already did that like a year ago. Alright, so here's the plan. I want to start off every single episode in this series of videos by recapping the story so far. So if you miss one episode, it's not the biggest of deals. It's not going to be the end of the world. You can just simply follow along as I go along as well. So if you are new here and you would like to join me on this adventure, definitely make sure to subscribe so you get notifications as soon as future videos go live. But I think it is about time we start off with the Prologue Campaign called The Exodus of the Horde. Now, I will be playing this entire campaign on the hard difficulty, even though I don't know if I necessarily would classify myself as a Warcraft 3 veteran. I've been playing strategy games my entire life. I think we can handle it. I love the Blizzard cinematics so much. They're so good.
The sands of time have run out, son of Duratan. The cries of war echo upon the winds. The remnants of the past scar the land. Which is besieged once again by conflict.
I think this cinematic mostly looks the same, right? I know a bunch of them have been remastered. I know probably all of them have been re-rendered. So I think the resolution and the quality is probably a little bit better, but mostly looks the same, from what I recall.
Heroes arise to challenge fate and lead their brethren to battle. As mortal armies rush blindly towards their doom, the burning shadow comes to consume us all. You must rally the Horde and
Me?
lead your people to their destiny.
Oh, alright. It was Thrall. Okay, I was gonna say, I have to do that? I actually really wonder what the first mission looks like.
Me out.
Because I recall the very first tutorial mission where you have to like select Thrall and move him to the highlighted area. It's like an old school way of doing tutorials. I don't know if that's still gonna be the same, or maybe they revamped that entire situation. Oh, okay, here we go. Chapter 1, Chasing Visions. Somewhere in the Arathi Highlands, Thrall, the young war chief of the Orcish Horde, wakes from his troubling dream.
What kind of nightmare was that?
It was not a nightmare, young war chief, but a vision. Follow me, and I will reveal what your future holds.
I don't know what this is all about, but I'll play along.
Alrighty, so here we are. Follow the narrator's yeah, I do have to follow the narrator's directions. Come on.
Excellent. You seem eager to be on your way.
Wow, it's still here.
However, you must first learn how to give orders to Thrall. Try ordering Thrall to move down the path towards the nearby banner. To do this, click the move button in the bottom right corner of your screen and then click on the banner.
What about I just right click? Narrator? Anyways, so I know some of you are maybe not the biggest fans of the art style of Warcraft. I think it's absolutely amazing. I'm really glad that, at the very least from like the very first images that we saw of Warcraft 3 Reforged, they've decided to go into like a more cartoonish look, which is what the original Warcraft graphics were like as well. I think it's amazing that we have it. So sick.
Skillfully done. However, the orc encampment is still far off. In order to reach the next banner, scroll the screen to the north by moving your mouse to the top edge.
Notice that the fog of war disappears. He's gonna say that, right? I think if I recall correctly, that's it.
Very good. The path to the next banner leads through a black area. This black area represents terrain that has not been discovered yet.
So I'm playing through the tutorial mission just because, well, I mean, it's a good introduction. I've been playing strategy games literally my entire life. Starting with like, you know, Red Alert and Command & Conquer.
Notice how the black area shrinks as Thrall moves through it. This reflects areas you have explored.
Heroes of Might and Magic. Generals. Played so many of them.
Select Thrall and order him to move to the banner in the middle of the encampment.
Now, by the way, I will be probably doing like 1, maybe 2 missions per episode. So I want to also post a video of this series, maybe like every 2nd to 3rd, maybe 4th video or so. So this playthrough is going to take a while. I am by no means going to rush it. I know a lot of people will be rushing through the campaign over the next couple of weeks since the game is, well, I mean, it's just released. I have no intention of doing so. I'm going to savor this, okay? I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm really going to take my sweet time.
Loktar, my warriors. We are yours to command, War Chief.
Yeah.
Now that your troops are all selected,
Look at this.
Order them to move to the next
Let's
banner.
get on with it.
The graphics look so much better. It's kind of crazy, actually. Like, if you compare the new graphics to the old ones, like, you get used to the new ones pretty quickly. I've been playing a little bit of multiplayer in the beta and stuff. If you then go back to the old ones, you realize how bad it really looked back in the day. I know they've done a lot of updates and polishing as well over the last few months. I played especially in, like, the early days of the beta. Haven't played, like, really anything over, like, the last month and a half. So, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be fun.
Prepare yourselves. I sense a knoll ahead.
A knoll?
To order Thrall's forces to defeat this foul creature, select all of your troops.
I did it.
This was only a scout, but the knoll's camp lies just ahead.
Order your troops to perform an aggressive attack move into the enemy encampment. To do this, select all of your troops, click the attack button, and then left-click on the ground in the middle of the knoll camp.
Okay, so as you probably know if you're watching this channel, I do a lot of StarCraft.
Let's get on with it.
I will probably
Whenever
make
you
the
click on
assumption
Hero Abilities button,
quite a
the
bit.
bottom right corner of your screen changes to show what abilities can be learned.
Yeah.
To spend Thrall's hero point and learn Chain Lightning, click on the Chain Lightning button in the bottom right corner of your screen.
Okay, so I got Chain Lightning.
The war chief.
So I would say like the biggest difference between StarCraft and Warcraft is the fact that Warcraft armies are much smaller and significantly more microable. Like imagine StarCraft 2 battles with like armies maybe a tenth of the size and the battles significantly slower. Right? That's basically what it comes down to. So micro is one of the biggest things in Warcraft 3. And one of the main reasons why it's so cool and why I'm such a fan of it is the fact that you have hero units that can cast spells.
War chief, we've discovered a group of Murloc raiders in the nearby river.
The Murlocs would make excellent targets for your new Chain Lightning spell. To have Thrall use his new ability, click on the Chain Lightning button and then left-click on... Some monsters drop treasure when they are defeated. Treasure chests hold power. This particular
I'm sorry to cut you off, mate.
contained a useful potion of mana. Notice that the potion now occupies one of Thrall's inventory slots near the bottom middle of your screen. Potions of mana can be used to replenish a hero's mana, the magic energies that allow the casting of spells such as Chain Lightning.
What you gotta keep in mind, right, is that this game is from like a long time ago, back in the day when,
are restless.
you know, this genre, I guess, was still very new and a lot of people were not familiar with how this kind of thing works. I gotta say, actually, the Warcraft 3 original Murlocs don't look nothing like the Warcraft, or the World of Warcraft Murlocs, that is. But they've really made those a little bit more similar looking. They're still different. They don't do, you know, when you get there, but...
I am the war chief. Yes.
Anyways, I've been looking forward to this game ever since they first announced it at BlizzCon, like what was that, like a year and a half ago or so at this point?
For honor.
It's been a while, man.
The wolf howl signifies that night has begun.
Be wary, my warriors. Don't let nightfall dull your senses.
Units cannot see as far at night as they can during the day.
For honor.
I'm also, so I'm gonna...
Ogre. We'd have a fierce battle on our hands if the beast weren't sleeping.
Get it, dude. I also am really looking forward to learning how to play multiplayer properly. I will spend the majority of my time doing that, at least in the recent future, or the close future, I guess, nearby future, over at the live stream. So for those of you unfamiliar, I stream on Monday through Saturday, 2 to 8 p.m. CET.
Let's get on with it.
I think I will focus probably most of my YouTube uploads around the campaign for now. Maybe some multiplayer as well, we'll see. But yeah, if you wanna watch me play some multiplayer and learn how to play this game from essentially scratch, definitely check out.
Watch yourselves, my brethren. Those creatures do not sleep at night.
Can I kill this thing? Also, be prepared for me to make terrible mistakes. I actually wouldn't be surprised if I already accidentally like missed an item or something like that. I do that all the time when I stream the game. For some reason, I don't see item drops, and like, local blindness, guys, it's a thing. It definitely is a thing. I'm a little bit blind. I don't remember these stone golems being here, by the way.
For Doomhammer.
I do remember, if I'm not crazy, the fact that like that golem over there, or what was it? Like the scary thing, the big one that we were supposed to sneak by, and that I ended up killing instead. Didn't that one drop an item? Am I crazy? Maybe I'm already triggering people, man. No.
For honor.
Nothing too crazy.
Dabu.
Anyways, so I'm gonna be doing both the Reign of Chaos as well as the Frozen Throne.
Yes.
This is gonna be a proper nostalgia trip.
For honor.
I'm looking forward so much to like the storyline, especially of Arthas. It's gonna be good. Man, I'm nerding out so hard. It's gonna be good. Hey, what's up, Mr. Prophet? How are you doing?
Greetings, son of Duratan. I knew you'd find your way.
It was you I saw in the vision. Who are you? How do you know me?
I know many things, young war chief, about you and your people. My identity at this time is unimportant. What is important is that you rally your people and leave these shores immediately.
Leave? What's this all about, human?
Human? I left my humanity behind long ago.
Oh, it's so pretty!
I am something different now. Know that I have seen the future and beheld the great burning shadow that is coming to consume this world. You sense it as well, don't you?
The demons are returning.
Yes, and only by leading your people across the sea to the distant lands of Kalimdor will you have a chance to stand against them.
But how can we...
I will answer all of your questions in time, young war chief. For now, rally your warriors and prepare to leave this land. We will speak again.
None of this makes sense. But the spirits tell me that I should trust him.
Well, there we have it. Victory in the very first mission, although I don't think it's actually possible to fail this one. The future ones, though, are going to be really difficult. I remember specifically the very first mission of the Undead campaign from the Frozen Throne expansion. That one was hard. Like, in my original playthrough, that one took me a very long time to complete. So some of these missions certainly are going to be very, very tricky. I hope you decide to join me on this adventure. If you do, and you would like to be updated whenever new episodes go live, like I mentioned earlier, hit that subscribe button so you get notified whenever they do. I'm planning on posting these every second to maybe third or so video that I will post. For now, I want to primarily stick with like one mission, maybe 2 missions per episode, but that can also change in the future. So just subscribe so you get notified as soon as future things go live. And I hope to see you once again in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile. And I'll see you once again very soon.